The key relationships in our life drive so much of what we can potentially do and the impact we can potentially have and the joy we can have doing those things. And so the tools that we use in our relationships to make them more positive and more powerful are vital. And so my name is Dr. Darby Campbell, and I want to share with you a tool that I use with my wife and my employees all the time that really helps us work together synergistically so we have more positivity, more power in our relationships so we can get more things accomplished together. You want to hear about it? Cool. Imagine that's why you're watching. So we have to start with a couple realities. And I'll just use I'll use a marriage relationship, but you could apply this to a boss. I've used this as a boss employee relationship. I've used this with friend relationships. I've used this as a parent relationships. It really just depends. But we have person one, and I'll just make it personal. I'll just say there's me, husband, and then there's my wife over here, wife. And we need to accomplish certain things together. The business of a household is probably one of the most important businesses in our community, because if we have strong households and strong families, that really is the core building block of a lot of good things. And so how do we make this more functional? Well, as a husband, sometimes I'm going to value certain things more than my wife, and she's going to value certain things more than me. So she's going to have a higher propensity on family and children just because of what's going on right now. Right now, my wife is 26 weeks pregnant, and so she and her thinking is really driven in that relationship with our current child, but then how that's all going to be impacted by the second child. So her thinking and propensity and kind of goal setting is around this. Her planning is around this because like she's carrying this baby around every second, and so it's forefront of her awareness. And so me over here, on the other hand, is I'm seeing my wife go through these changes. We're also business partners. We work back and forth. But her ability to have the same level of commitment to our business is changing because she's literally going to have to care for a new life. And that's really, really cool. And that's totally normal. But what's going to happen in the business and her contribution for it is it's going to go down. And so for me to be able to continue to see our business thrive, I'm going to have to increase my business worth. And so I'm going to be spending more time in the practice. I'm going to be doing more things. I'm going to be taking over things off of her plate and putting them on mine. And that's totally normal. And I'm grateful to do that. I'm grateful that she does this thing. It's not that one is better than the other or vice versa. It's they both have to get done. We both have to do this well. And so she also has certain things on her plate over here, and maybe I'll have to take over some of the money planning side of things. Like I'll have to, hey, this is how this insurance is going to work. This is how this is going to work, so that we can continue to care for this family and provide for this family. And so we both have this inherent value system that we're being driven towards just by circumstances and by our personal value systems. One isn't better than the other. But what starts to happen here, if we're not careful, is she has a high value on family, and if I'm not actively supporting her in this, the way she perceives she should be supported through her value system, then she will start to have negative perceptions about me. And me, vice versa, if my highest value is business and she's pulling away from business to do this, I can start to have negative perceptions of her in kind of what she's doing for business. And then so this can start to break down the relationship. And this happens in marriages all the time. And so this starts to bring a wall here. But what we want to do is we want to create doorways and windows through this wall so we can see each other, and really we can start to almost erase it all together. And how we do that is through a process I call value linking. So that's where we can start to see how the value system and actions of one benefit the value systems and actions of me. how does Ashley increasing her awareness, increasing her planning help me in business? Well, someone has to care for these children, and the fact that I don't have the anatomical tools to do that when the baby comes out in certain more powerful ways like breastfeeding and just the ability to nurse and care for, I don't have that anatomy, that physiology, that thinking. But she's going to care for that child, and how does that help me with business? Well, A, it frees up my time because it is my responsibility to care for that child or to make sure that child's caring for properly. And so I get that time. But then also we care for families. And so I get to walk through that experience with my wife, and I get to see it again, and sometimes probably in new perspectives and new, more powerful ways. And that's going to help me serve the new moms better in the practice. And so this experience is going to help me in business better. And so the business side of things, if I'm able to provide for and grow our practice and maintain our practice, that's obviously going to benefit our family through just providing. But more than that, going back to that example, I'm going to encounter lots of new moms, and Ashley gets to do this as well too, and we get to learn from each other. And so we'll see, we care for families that have had kids from babies and up to college and gone, and they have great grandkids now. There's all kinds of experiences that we can have in our business that we can learn from and apply to our family. And so how does me making money in the business benefit the children? Well, obviously we can provide for them more resources, but then there's experiences over here that I can then pass on to the children that's going to benefit them. And then this is endless. We can go back and forth here. But the whole point is we just have to think of the benefits of these to this, and then the benefits of these to this. And then we start to see the value in each other and each other's actions and each other's responsibilities. And we start to really support and encourage each other. And then we break down this wall, and because all we really have is teamwork here. And then we're a synergistic, more powerful team. And so this is an exercise called value linking. I really recommend you do that with all your key relationships, with your kind of professional relationships, with your familiar relationships, with your spouse, with your children, with your in-laws, all kinds of stuff. If it's a key relationship for you, you want to do this because then you're going to be more powerful together. And so that is how we can improve all the key relationships in our lives, and that's how we can sometimes reduce some of the stress and improve the functionality and performance of our life. Look forward to serving you in the future.